Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Inc. of South Florida. We are exactly 1 week out from the NFL draft. Notice I did not say NFL mock draft because I'm, like the rest of you, tired of mock drafts. And yeah, they're exercises in futility. Anyway, it's Ian, Ben, Scarps back in the SCB sound room once again to bring you the finest in Steelers discussion. We wrap up our draft talk tonight with the edge rushers, the cornerbacks, and the safeties, top of the list, but also the guys that potentially could be headed to Pittsburgh in next week's draft. Gentlemen, I hope you are all well tonight. Mr. Scarpizzo, what are you drinking? I was looking at your handle. I said Scarpizio.
It's all good. Paint thinner.
Paint thinner. Let's get paramedics on.
Vodka Giant Eagle Fruition. So it's white grape and vodka. It's really good.
White grape and vodka from Gin Eagle.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. All right. Ben, what are you imbibing on?
A beer called Johnny Utah.
Whoa. Johnny Utah.
Steelers are going to draft him.
Yeah, they are, man. You guys ever see Point Break?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just a pale ale that a brewer out of Washington makes. It's
beautiful. Nice. Johnny Utah.
Yeah.
He played at Ohio State, ironically.
I believe he did, and then he blew his knee out.
That was a shame.
Lost his pro career.
Yeah.
It's too bad, really.
Thank God the FBI came calling.
Right?
Ian, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking the wrong way.
There we go.
There we go. The Liberty Pole whiskey from Washington, Pennsylvania. So if anyone comes for the Whiskey Rebellion Festival or just the Whiskey Rebellion Trail, you can get some Liberty Pole whiskey. It's quite good.
The Whiskey Rebellion Festival is in July, yes?
Yes.
July in Pittsburgh.
Yes. You went to school in Arizona. You will be fine.
Yeah, no. There's no humidity in Arizona.
That's true.
Yeah. The other thing is
quiet man tonight.
Nice.
Good shit.
Yeah, it is. Man,
there's also a Whiskey Rebellion trail you can go on anytime you want and just buy tickets to go to a number of breweries. So you can do that whenever you come.
So you can actually get drunk on the Whiskey Rebellion trail.
Yes.
Well, my friends and I hate getting drunk, so that's probably not going to be on the. Okay, I'm lying.
I've met your friends. Alcohol is not something that.
Anyway, we hope everybody's doing well and making it through spring. We hope it's been a spring wherever you are, but for most of us, it's been bizarre. In any case, 1 week to go, and look, we're going to talk a lot heavier next week about the Steelers and what we think they may do and what we think they may not do and all that. But we want to finish off our draft prep tonight. And we'll start with the edge rushers. And, of course, this is a pretty damn good class of edge rushers. And it starts at the top. Aiden Hutchinson is likely top one or two picks, I think is fair to say. I know there's some speculation that Jacksonville could possibly go in a little different direction. And you don't know. But you've got him up there, Kayvon Thibodeau, got the kid out of Georgia that's kind of come out of nowhere, Walker, right?
Trayvon Walker, yeah.
Trayvon Walker. So, I mean, Ian, as you look at these guys, do any of them fall down the board to the Steelers at all, and would they even consider them?
Okay, if one of those top guys falls to them, you absolutely consider them. There's probably 6, maybe more first-round probable edge rushers. I mean, the 3 you named, right. Jermaine Johnson from Florida State, George Karlaftis from Purdue, and then you get into the guys that are kind of fringe guys, Arnold Edwabike from Penn State, Boye Mafe from Minnesota, David Ajabo from Michigan, a guy who tested superbly athletically, but, is injured himself at his pro day towards Achilles.
Yeah.
But if he was still there in the second round, wouldn't you take a flyer?
Absolutely.
I would hope they would.
It'd be hard not to.
Yeah. So for those people listening who have been longtime readers of SteelCityBlitz.com, I've done quite a bit of research on, what makes for a elite pass rusher.
Did you make graphics?
There's graphics in the post. You can
let me share my screen.
Go ahead.
Share your screen.
We won't go that far tonight.
No, come on.
Oh,
fine. He shares the screen with us all the time on
I've heard
Slack.
that way too many fucking times over the last couple years.
Right,
I never want to hear that again.
You'll share your screen with me.
Can you see it?
I hear it at least twice a day.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Okay, so I'll just run through it quickly.
Sorry.
Elite pass rushers are guys who get 10 plus sacks in a season.
Yep.
Shockingly consistent statistic over time. Since 2000, there's been an average of about 17 guys a year with double-digit sacks, and it's been pretty constant, between 15 and 20 per year.
Right.
And, considering how offenses have evolved, how defenses have evolved, like that 10 plus sack number has been pretty consistent. So that's a good way to measure guys. And I like to look at the guys typically in players' careers. They start to peak around years 4, 5, 6. So the guys that I look at is the truly like early impact pass rushers, or guys that get to that 10 sack threshold in years 1 or 2. So in year 1, since 2000, there's only been 18 guys that have been double-digit sack guys as rookies. 35 did it in their second year. So in total, 45 guys have had a double-digit sack season in either their first year or their second year, because some did it in both their first and second year. Of those guys, like 75 to 80% of them hit some or all of these athletic thresholds. So they were at least 6'2.5", at least 250 pounds, were faster than 4.8 in the 40. Of the guys who jumped, had a vertical of at least 33.5, had a broad jump of at least 118 inches. Of the guys who ran shuttles, 4.45 or faster, and then three cones, 7.3 or faster. Like 80% of them were faster than that. But really, like, if you're under 7.1, you are truly elite. If you're under 7, you're insane. Under 7.1 is really elite. And three cone as an individual drill is probably the best predictor of, pass rusher success over time. But for those early impact guys, there's a little bit more wiggle room. TJ Watt hit all 8 of those boxes that I mentioned. Brian Arakpo, Danielle Hunter, DeMarcus Ware, Justin Houston, Mario Williams, Mark Anderson also hit, all 8 of those boxes. So in this draft class, it was a little bit harder to figure out because there were some guys who didn't do some drills. So that made it a little bit harder. But that being said, there were 2 guys in this draft class that hold on.
Hit all 8.
They hit all 8, yes. So I actually will share my screen with you assholes.
Good. About fucking time.
Yeah.
You didn't have to, man. I'll just bust your stuff.
Yeah, you did.
Hey, we've shared video before on here, Scarp. So we've been big time before, man.
Let me make sure. I hope this is the right one that I'm sharing. So, Mark, can you
grant me access?
Oh, there we are.
Yeah.
All right. There
Look
we
at
go.
this.
That's what I'm talking about.
Man,
if
you are tuning in week to week on this, and we've just entered a whole new fucking realm of technology.
High tech.
There we go.
Look at that.
Okay. All right. So these are the guys in this year's draft class. The ones shaded green are the ones, that hit the thresholds I mentioned. And then the 3 cone drills I also kind of colored by
Hutchinson.
By how fast they were.
6'7"
So
what did TJ Watt run? 6'7"
I think it was TJ was, hold on. I can look him up. Hold on.
Sorry.
I have it. I have it. It's just I gotta find it.
Okay. It was in that range. Anyway, talk about this year's class.
At any rate, this year's class: Dominique Robinson, Miami of Ohio; Jeffrey Gunther from Coastal Carolina; two guys who are mid to late round prospects that checked all 8 of those boxes for early impact pass rushers. So if the Steelers don't land a guy early, those are the kind of guys I would gamble on. We have learned over time it is much better to gamble on athletic guys that weren't highly productive in college, like
especially if they're young.
Yes, especially if they're young, versus guys who were highly productive but weren't super athletic, like Jarvis Jones. So, it's if you're gambling on guys, these guys at the top of the list, and Aiden Hutchinson just barely, like by 1 inch, missed the broad jump on the threshold. So I mean, he's right there. Trayvon Walker didn't do the bench. Kayvon Thibodeau didn't do a vertical jump, but they all checked all those boxes. The rest of those guys that I mentioned, the other two to kind of keep an eye on, Deangelo Malone from Western Kentucky. The only thing he was short on was weight. And I mean, you can bulk up, but weight's a little bit more concerning to me than if they were like less on the broad jump or vertical or something like that, because weight comes into play a lot more. And Sam Williams from Mississippi, who the Steelers sent a lot of guys to the Ole Miss Pro Day to look at Matt Corral, so he was there too. And then, a couple guys who probably might not get drafted as, priority undrafted free agents, Luigi Vallon from Wake Forest and Kingsley Jonathan from Syracuse, a couple other guys just to kind of keep an eye on, as undrafted free agents. Nick Benito from Oklahoma, Cameron Thomas from San Diego State, any of those guys are good gambles in this draft, much better than some of the other guys further down. The one
Coastal
other guy
Carolina.
the one other guy who intrigues me a bit. I should also mention here as I kind of scroll through my spreadsheet is that the guys shaded in blue could also be inside linebackers. The guys shaded in yellow could also be defensive ends or like
5 techs,
5 tech type guys. Yeah, I know we had some debate on Trayvon Walker.
I think he could be a 5 tech. I really do. But his measurables don't say that. And watching him play, he doesn't play with a lot of knee bend. His upper body's obviously very strong. That's why I think he didn't bench, because he was like, why? I mean, he probably didn't have a great bench. It's probably like in a range of 19, 20 or something along those lines, which isn't a great bench. And he obviously plays strong. So there's not a whole lot to prove with the bench. So he's like, screw it, I'm just not doing it. I got nothing to gain by doing it. I'm just going to lose points. So the hell with it. So Walker, though, I think the way he sets the edge is pretty fucking impressive. I think he could play, especially. I want to call it a 1 tech, but it's not really that. He'd play on the 5, but he'd play one gap.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He'd play one gap, and if his read tells him to rush, he rushes. If it tells him to set, he sets. If it tells him to go down the line, he does that, and he's quick enough to do so. I think he'd be stellar. He might be another like a JJ Watt type if he played 5. That's me though. 5 tech I think would be great, but I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to put him at edge because edge is a premier position.
Yeah.
Well, especially if a 4-3 team takes him, they can anchor him on the edge and he'll be fine. The one other guy I wanted to mention was Maji Sanders from Cincinnati, and because at the combine he weighed in at 228, which sounds insanely light for an edge rusher. But he was up to 247 by his pro day. So he put on 19 pounds between the combine and his pro day.
What these guys do is before weigh-ins, they drink a shit ton of water to try and be as heavy as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Ryan Shazier weighed in at 237.
Yeah.
He played at 225.
Yeah.
For example.
True. Yeah. It's a good call.
The reason I mentioned Sanders, though, is at the Senior Bowl, when they talked to the offensive tackles and asked them who was the hardest guy to block, they all said Sanders was. So, just throwing that out there as well. So that's my quick summary on the edge rushers. I'll let you guys.
There have been guys that have played out on the outside that weighed 230 and under and been successful. Who was the guy who played forever for Miami? Jason
Taylor.
Jason Taylor.
Yeah.
He played at 225, and the guy was like close to 6'5".
Yeah, he was a stick.
I mean,
and a good one.
Obviously he wasn't carrying a lot of body fat, and he was strong enough, more than that, agile enough, had long enough arms to keep those guys off him, and he was successful.
So, Ryan, let me bring in here. The Steelers almost always get a depth guy on the edge. I mean, based on I don't want to call it limited, but let's just, I guess, use that term, limited number of picks they have. Do you think they go there?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think they go there at 20 unless something crazy happens. But I was looking at Ian's spreadsheet, squinting. But
gotta go full screen.
But the two guys I had on my watch list is Deangelo Malone, which is he's from Western Kentucky. He's a playmaker, former Conference USA Player of the Year. Immediate, and that's the other thing too, is you got to be able to play on teams. I could see him playing on teams. And then the other guy I had my eye on, Isaiah Thomas, from Oklahoma, who, little known fact, he also did not shake Michael Jordan's hand in the playoff after he lost to them in the playoffs.
What a dick!
Then,
I cannot believe that.
And was not selected to the '92 Dream Team because of that transgression. But no, so Isaiah Thomas from Oklahoma. He's long and rangy. They've compared him to Josh Sweat. And I got no problems with that. I could see them going for depth, maybe second, third day, fourth, fifth round, something like that. But I don't see them going there at 20. I just don't.
No. I don't either. I mean, like you said, if
first round, and it would have to be a deal where they stayed put, and the first round just fell all kinds of wonky.
Yeah,
and they went, well, we need a guy here, or we're gonna need a guy here. I guess we could take him now and then kind of change things later. But yeah, I don't see the first round either. On the other hand, like David Ajabo, if he's available at 52, I mean, how do you not take that?
And Ajabo, super athletic, and of course he blew out an Achilles on his pro day. By all accounts, surgery went well. He's doing well. No reason he can't be ready. What are they saying by
mid-season? I think
I think.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of people look at that and they say, "Well, geez, you're wasting the pick." Well, not really, because if this guy turns out to be a player for you for 4 or 5 years, then it's a great pick. So, and look, I know we've got obviously TJ, we've got Alex Highsmith, but man, anytime you can get an athlete like that, I don't know how you pass it up.
You also never, I mean, and please God, don't let it happen, but you never know when somebody gets hurt.
No,
I tend to believe that Alex Highsmith is likely to only be in Pittsburgh for 2 more years, because he's going to want to get paid, and there's a certain amount of money set aside
for
not for TJ, but for that position as a whole. And TJ's eating, he's eating majority of it up by himself.
TJ.
So.
Well, and you look at what Minka's going to end up getting. I mean,
right. I mean, you got Tuitt, you got Hayward, you got TJ, you got Minka, and and now you've got Miles Jack, who's also getting a pretty nice chunk of change.
Yep.
They're not going to pay another edge rusher, I don't think. I mean, if they can get him on the cheapish, then he'll stick around. But I got a feeling he's not. My feeling is that he's going to get a lot more than that on the open market.
Is this a big year for him anyway? I mean, does he need to take that step?
I think he will.
I anticipate he will too.
He got better last year.
Right.
And he seemed to get better as the season went along. In particular, his get off, his immediate, his get off on the snap, and it was like he was studying TJ and watching what he was doing and seeing how successful he was as a result. I also think he was more prepared for the tackles moves. So he was less tentative when the ball was snapped. He wasn't trying to anticipate what the tackle was doing. He was just reacting to it. and he just seemed to get better as the season went along. I think this year is going to be a pretty good year for him. He's going to have a lot of one-on-one opportunities. And then next year, he's going to look for either a big extension or he's going to say, hey, enjoy your comp pick in 2025 because I'm not going to be here.
Be. Just a reminder, this is the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing of South Florida. DEK serves Broward and the Southern Palm Beach counties, whether it's commercial, industrial, residential, multifamily, or condos. Contact DEK Roofing today by visiting deckroofing.com. Ian, you had a final
multifamily.
Point? Yeah. I said multifamily.
Yeah. I had one other note on David Ajabo from Michigan. This is also a guy who is incredibly raw. He didn't start playing football until his junior year of high school. He was born in Nigeria, moved to Scotland, spent most of his time there growing up, and then came to the U.S. in high school.
Redshirt sophomore, started playing football as a junior in high school. Got a bunch of offers pretty much on his athleticism. And then last year alone, granted, he was playing opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, who was drawing a lot of attention, but he had 12 tackles for loss and 11 sacks. You don't do that if you're not a special And he's 22.
Player. And he's young. Yeah. I mean, I absolutely take a flyer on that guy in the second round, assuming the medicals would check out.
There are people around these parts that think he will end up being a better pro than Hutchinson. Let's put it that way. I'm not saying I agree with him.
I don't know.
I think just based on the projection.
Hutchinson has more raw physical talent.
So
the question is just, how good are they both at applying that,
Right. And of course, as we all know, where you are drafted, the team that you're drafted with,
means dick once you're drafted.
Yeah. I mean, these things are all part of the thing. Let's slide over to cornerbacks. Corners. We'll finish with safeties because safety is obviously a big position of need, and I think there's a lot of discussion there.
Really?
Well, according to the latest, yes.
Wait, didn't you have something in your mock draft about a safety?
I didn't
read it. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I will have my final mock draft coming out early next week, by the way, and I know everybody's going to be dialed up.
See, Ryan, Ben's just a dick to everybody.
Yeah, it's not just you, Ryan.
Thank you. I can tell.
We just need to get him a T-shirt that says "Dick." I mean,
whatever.
Nothing else.
Who's a dick? Ian. He once said that that Steelers fans sometimes are assholes, and that Ravens fans are not always jagoffs, which we all know is total bullshit.
Well, yeah, I'm not touching that one.
I think I said I've met 2 Ravens fans on Twitter that weren't complete assholes.
I think he said, and I am quoting, not all Ravens fans are jagoffs, and some Steelers fans are total assholes. And I was like, what? No,
it's true.
Steelers fans are always well-informed and completely objective.
Yeah,
we all know this.
Perfect.
I'm not sure which of those two things is the bigger.
That's true. Yeah.
Anyway, cornerback. There is talk that if the right one fell to 20, the Steelers would jump him. I mean, you've got Derek Stingley, you've got Sauce Gardner. There's the McDuffie kid out of Washington. You got Booth at Clemson. I tend to believe they would not go in that direction, but you never know. Ryan, possibility at 20 of a cornerback?
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is the Steelers do not have the best track record with drafting and developing cornerbacks in the first round. But
They got pretty good coaching right now as far as DBs go.
Much better than it had been. That's right.
And I would say that if this is just me, but Derek Stingley Jr. is sort of like Malik Willis to me, boom or bust.
A little bit.
And maybe I think Stingley's probably better equipped, but they were at the LSU Pro Day. I could see if Stingley would fall to 20. I don't know if they would necessarily pass on him. But if he wasn't available, I've been on this guy, but Kaiir Elam from Florida, NFL pedigree, his family's in the league, patient. Comparisons to Jalen Johnson, I don't know if they maybe swing for the fences at 20 with him.
Were they at the Florida Pro Day?
No,
I don't think they were.
Yeah, and I understand that. I do understand that. They usually take guys, they go to their pro day or whatever, but I don't know. I just like him. I hope he does well. But if they don't go, Kobe Bryant, no relation, RIP, Mamba. Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati in the second round. Comparisons to PJ Williams, I could see that. And then later, late day 2, day 3, if they do take a Pitt player, I really hope it's not Kenny Pickett. I hope it's Damari Mathis.
Yeah, that dude can ball.
Whoever's listening, I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I love, I didn't go to Pitt, but I love Pitt. I'll root for Pitt. But Damari Mathis, he ran a 4.39.
He's got long arms. He plays long.
He's compact. He's strong, and I'm looking at him as a nickel or dime, some sort of zone combination. Either way, he also is good against the run, so I could see that. And then my final one, late third or maybe an undrafted free agent, and I'm only saying this because he went to South Carolina State, and they have a history of taking South Carolina State players. But Jacoby Durant from South Carolina, he's competitive, he's confident, and I could see them maybe taking a pick or an undrafted free agent. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
He's a nickel guy.
We'll see.
Well, that's the question I was going to ask is, Ian, are they looking, if they do go corner, is it more likely to be a slot guy, a corner, a nickel type?
I mean, you could do either at this point. I mean, right now, 2022, you've got Witherspoon, you've got Wallace, you've got Cam Sutton. That's three guys that could play on the outside if you absolutely needed to because injuries happen. You've got Arthur Millette. Like, they're okay.
And you can put Sutton inside too.
Yeah, you can put Sutton inside. They're okay for this year, but that doesn't say much for the long-term future. I mean, Witherspoon signed a short-term deal. Cam Sutton's deal was only 2 years when he signed it, so this will be his second year.
Right.
So, you could pick either one wherever and kind of let the guy come along and see what happens, right? I mean, if Stingley is there, I think they would absolutely take him.
You have to.
I think the only way they take Booth is if like 3 quarterbacks are somehow off the board before they pick.
Let's hope so.
If Willis
having Booth, that guy,
if Willis, Pickett, and Ritter are all off the board, then and just there's like not much else on the board. I mean, they went to Clemson's pro day pretty heavy. I like Booth a lot. I think he'll be a good player in this league. I think he's best as a man corner instead of a zone corner. I think Trent McDuffie from Washington is a much better zone corner than man corner. So I don't McDuffie's a better off corner. I think Booth can press a bit more. I mean, Stingley, if he's healthy, is an athletic stud. But I think Stingley and Gardner probably both go in the top 10, maybe top 15. So I don't think we'll have a shot at either of them. I mean, especially after Stingley ran a 4.37 in his pro day, like there's no chance we get him now. And cornerback is the one position, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, where you're better off signing guys in free agency that have been in the league. It seems like the learning curve, unless you can get a true stud like a Patrick Peterson or a Jalen Ramsey or something like that, like at the top of the draft, unless you get a true stud at the top, the chances of finding a good, successful corner, you're better off getting one in free agency just because of how good NFL receivers are. I mean, you kind of just have to be around the league a little while to learn the game and all that, and it's, you get guys like Steven Nelson, he was a third-round pick coming out, and then played really well for us for the couple years he was here. And then you're all in all, find guys who can play in the league, let them develop elsewhere. Usually, I'm a draft and develop guy, but cornerback is the one position across the board where you're just better off signing free agents. It's just true.
Yeah, the one guy that I keep seeing as a potential late day 2, early day 3 is the kid from Nebraska, Camp Taylor-Britt. They had somebody there watching them. I don't remember who it was, but
I've seen Roger McCreary's name from Auburn too.
Yes.
And I don't know. Actually, the other guy I'll mention is Kyler
Cam
Gordon.
Taylor-Britt was a day 2 guy.
Yeah.
I think he's second, third. Yeah.
I think Kyler Gordon from Washington, I don't think the Steelers would take him, but I think he could sneak into the tail end of the first round. Most people have said he's a second round pick, but I wouldn't be shocked if he snuck. There's always a couple guys like at that 28 to 32 that you're like, that guy's a first rounder.
Right.
But like Brandon Beane, Buffalo's general manager, said they have 9 first round grades this year. Like looking through this draft class,
9?
That's what he said today.
He's lying.
Well, at any rate,
he had a
no
little
way.
He had a little too much fun yesterday at 420. So
I'm just
again, somebody said they had a first round grade on our backup quarterback.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
For God's sake!
So
don't you ever speak
mention
about
his name.
Kevin Colbert again.
I'm just saying that there's always guys that sneak into the first round, and all it takes is one, right? One team's like, oh, we need a cornerback, and there's 5 off
more
the
along
board.
the lines of they're probably only like usually 20 to 20, 18 to 22, let's say, true first round grades in any given draft.
Yeah.
So there are guys that are taken that the consensus is this is a second round guy. That happens every single year, and it will. And the Steelers frequently take one of those guys who's like highly athletic, but he's got whatever flaw. He doesn't check one box, but the Steelers really like him.
That's a good way to put
because
it.
they're taking him late in the first round, so it is what it is.
Or teams were a little nuts, right?
That too.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Cam and TJ.
That was
TJ. That was awesome. When Dallas, because I was so sure Dallas was going to take him, and when they took Taco instead, I was like, yeah.
But like Cam at 31.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was nuts.
And then
that was a good draft for defensive linemen, though. It really was. That was
I know people hate Cam Jordan because he talked shit on Ben once, but Cam
he talks shit all the time. The guy's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But
he was
talking shit. He was talking shit on Herbert, the quarterback from the Chargers.
Yes.
If you hit him, you can rattle him, and he starts. He plays. The guy threw 4 touchdowns on you, dude. Shut the fuck up.
I wasn't sure if you meant.
And he was a rookie.
I wasn't sure if you meant Herbert or Bobby Bear.
Bobby Bear. No, I mean Herbert.
There were 3 first rounders that year named Cameron. That's kind of weird.
That is true.
It was Cam Newton, Cam Jordan, and Cam Hayward.
Yeah.
But actually, to Ryan's point, though, that was a direct Kevin Colbert quote when they got Hayward that he said, we got Cam Hayward because other guys or other teams picked guys that we didn't even have on our board. So, which I think, because that was like the year that all that shit went down at Baylor. I think that was a reference to like Cleveland taking Phil Taylor, the defensive tackle from Baylor.
Yeah.
And
forgot about that.
A couple other guys like Philly took that guard, Danny Watkins, who was also from Baylor, who was like 26 years old. So I think some of those were the guys that like Colbert was referencing without actually saying names, because he would never do that. But yeah.
I love it. But yeah, Cam was a great first round pick. A first round pick should be a foundational type player, a guy you get a decade out of. And Cam was a great first round pick. I think, I don't know that he's a Hall of Famer, but he's borderline.
People need guy Ian.
I was gonna say like Lawrence Timmons, right? You got a decade out of him.
Pick. He
was
was
a great first round pick.
You got a decade out of that guy. That's a great first round pick, in my opinion.
Chris Collinsworth saying that shit on Sunday Night Football Yeah, I'm gonna see him in Canton one day. It's like, dude, shut up for Christ's sake. Like, you do realize how many Steelers fans' antennas went up when like everybody that hates Collinsworth, but they heard Cameron Hayward's a Hall of Famer, they're like, like,
yeah,
right.
What? Oh yeah. And it's like, dude,
I really do love your impression of that douchebag.
Here's a
I
guy.
do too.
Here's a guy. Here's a guy drinking 2 guys in 1 saw. You know? but no. I mean, like, to your point, like, Cam is a great player. Like, he'll be in the Steelers Ring of Honor. But like,
easy.
Like, we need to chill. 2 things. This is a tangent, but we need to chill when we talk about GOAT, and we need to chill when we talk about Hall of Fame. Because to me, the Hall of Fame, every one of them has become the Hall of Great. And I have a problem with that, because eventually, if you wait around long enough and you bitch long enough, you'll get in. And I don't like that. I just don't do it. I'm not a fan of it. And I understand
never getting in. Hines is never getting in. If there was a Hall of very good, Hines Ward would get in for sure. And he was a great Steeler, great leader, made so many contributions to this team. I really appreciate all of his time with it there, but he was never seen as the best at what he did.
And I say,
aside from blocking,
no, and I say that like, because Dick LeBeau benefited from that, as did Donnie Shell.
I don't know. Dick LeBeau was pretty goddamn good. He held the record for interceptions for a long time.
Oh, yes. He was, I think he was, when he retired, was he number 1?
Or was he number 1 for like,
I thought
like 2 decades.
I thought Night Train Lane was 1, or Paul Krause was still 1 when he retired. Okay, whatever. But he was top 5 for like a long ass time.
Long time.
Yeah. So like, guys like Donnie Shell get in because of the rule that I just said, and then it's like, this is no disrespect to Donnie Shell, but maybe he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, I'd probably put LC ahead of Donnie Shell.
Right, but it was you had to split hairs to figure out which one of them contributed more.
Yeah, I got you. I'm an ass, whatever.
No, you're not. You're not. It's just that was difficult. I think honestly, when it came down to picking which one of those 2 got in that year, they went with a guy who was alive.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That was a big part of it.
Ryan, I'm sure you did, but did you ever meet LC Greenwood?
I actually never got to meet LC. And actually,
I did.
Quick tangent. Go ahead. I got a real good tangent. Go ahead.
I would say I met him once. The dude had the biggest hands of anyone I've ever met. I shook his hand. Like, I'm 6'3". My hands are not small. I felt like a child. Like, when he shook my, I was like, I can't see his hands were so friggin' big. Yep. Like,
I met him on a golf course, and I had exactly the same impression. I was like, holy shit. That what the golf club must feel like a little twig in his wow.
The quick tangent is that he passed away when we played in London.
Oh, that's right.
And the phones didn't work. So, like, the Roonies were trying to call us and vice versa, and the phones weren't working. And, like, we're literally trying to, like, put out a statement, like, LC Greenwood passed away. Like, we're very, like, sad, whatever. And the phones weren't working. And I remember, like, we all had some choice words for the AFC representative that was supposed to be supporting us during the London game at Wembley Stadium, and the phones weren't working. And one of our elite players of all time had just passed. So,
British technology for you. That's really what that is.
No disrespect, Ellie, but it was a shit show at Wembley. I'm not gonna lie. All right.
Not the first time there's been a shit show at Wembley.
No. She's a fan of Tottenham. She's seen it plenty.
It was worse than the time I never saw Def Leppard there because I wasn't born yet. But that's all right, you know.
Before we move to the safety position, just a reminder, we are part of the Pigskin Podcast Network. And that means we are more than happy to be associated with DraftKings. And right now, the NBA playoffs means next level basketball. Get in on the first round action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly. You win no matter what. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the first round playoffs and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code TPPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right.
And one quick point. I just wanted to reiterate Scarf's point about taking Damari Mathis. I think that's a fucking great idea in the third round. I really like that player.
Fuck yeah.
He's a little on the short side, but he's got long arms as corners go. He plays a lot longer than he is tall, and he's aggressive enough to be a good nickel guy, and that's what they really need. I
agree. Yeah, they got to have a nickel guy. Millette is a nice guy.
That's okay.
But yeah,
he's a first and second down nickel corner.
Right.
He's not a passing down guy. He's not the guy you want out there. He's the guy who's going to get targeted on third.
No, I agree. Look, we are very well set at free safety. The issue is strong safety. Terrell Edmonds remains a free agent. I think for a lot of people, had he wanted to, he would have signed by now. What did I say? Did I say something wrong?
No. I was just looking at Ian's little note here in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
I'm an asshole.
Ian.
You know, dealing with you assholes sometimes is like dealing with the kids passing notes in class. So
yeah.
Now they pass
nobody
text
passes
messages.
notes. They have phones.
Right. It's all phones now.
I just mute and go off cam and just pee and
yeah. Leave it to the
because it's life, I'm older now.
Yeah.
I think we all are in agreement. If Kyle Hamilton was sitting there at 20, you run, not walk.
That's Christmas. It ain't gonna happen.
Listen, if Kyle Hamilton is there at 15, you trade up for him.
Right?
I would.
Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah,
I would. I mean, he's that dynamic. I think he would make just an unbelievable combo with Minka. I think he's a great player. I'll just leave it at that. You know, and then you get into this level where you got kind of late first, early second guys, Dax Hill, Lewis Sign, and look, they were at both of those pro days, Michigan, Georgia.
I like Brisker too.
I like Brisker a lot.
Yeah,
I was going to talk about him, but
I would not be surprised if I think even a Nick Cross from Maryland enters the conversation a little bit, but
maybe.
Maybe, and I only say that because he's Maryland and we seem to like.
Fuck.
4.34. That's pretty damn quick for safety. So I mean that's what I'm looking at. I don't. Outside of that, where do you go here, Ian? You got any guys you really like?
The one other name I'll just mention as a late day 3 or undrafted free agent guy is Quentin Lake, son of Carnell Lake, out of UCLA. I think I stole Ryan's thunder. I see the look on his face.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
He's like, I was going to talk about that guy.
Call God. You're going to live. Call God.
I really like all the guys Ben mentioned, like Dax Hill, Lewis Sign, and Jaquan Brisker. I mean, Brisker, I saw a lot of Penn State games this past year. Dude is a playmaker and a thumper. I mean, he can hit, he can run, he can make plays all over the field.
Quintessential strong safety.
Yeah.
Can he cover in the slot?
He can cover a tight end and a running back. Okay. I wouldn't put him on a slot receiver.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, not like Dax Hill can cover in the slot. I mean, Dax Hill can cover really well in the slot.
Yeah.
But Brisker, I think you could play in a cover 2 or as a true strong safety and do really well with. If Brisker is somehow there in the second round, right, I would absolutely take him.
What if I don't think he will be, but what if Dax Hill is there at 20?
Okay, so here's what I'll say. Going back to my prior scenario, right? If 3 quarterbacks are off the board,
he might be.
And I know what you think about the quarterbacks, Ben. I'm thinking like the Steelers, that they've spent a whole shitload of time on this quarterback class.
Cool.
I think if any of the top 3 quarterbacks are there, I think they're going to take them. Where the question mark comes in is with Matt Corral, because I don't love Matt Corral personally.
No, I think it's Ritter.
I don't
it's
love
Willis,
any of these
it's
quarterbacks
Pickett.
at
I
all.
think those are the only 3 options at 20.
Yeah.
I think Malik Willis, all things being equal, last year would have been the 6th quarterback taken off the board. And this year he's going to be probably a top 10 pick because he's a quarterback.
I think Willis might have gotten taken ahead of Mac Jones, but
I don't know. He has more arm strength and he's got more athleticism, but Mac Jones is a safer pick, which is why Belichick took him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, he also fits Belichick's system like a glove. I mean,
we're on Cincinnati.
Yeah. So, if Dax Hill is there at 20,
right.
If the 3 quarterbacks are gone, I mean, they went heavy to Michigan's pro day. I could definitely see them taking him at 20.
He's got some versatility in so much as he could be the guy they wanted Sean Davis to be, where he could play slot or he could play strong safety or in a pinch he could play dime linebacker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's not forget too. I mean, they like to move Minka around a little bit. Yeah. Dax Hill ran a 4.38. Like you could put that guy as a single high and he could cover sideline to sideline.
Right.
I mean, you know, that gives you a lot more ability to move Minka up, put Hill back, move Hill up, put Minka like you could basically
that versatility would really be valuable. I agree with you.
Yes. Yeah. I would be totally fine with Dax Hill at 20.
Oh fuck, I'd love it.
It would.
Yeah,
I think
it's a possibility.
People would lose their shit because they would be shocked by it because no one's talking about it. But
people.
I'm just saying.
Hell with people.
I'm on Twitter way too much. But yeah, I'd be totally fine with Dax Hill at 20.
Yeah. I would too, and I think they've invested a lot of time in Lewis Sign as well. Kid out of Georgia.
Sign would be great. I don't think he'll be there in the second.
Yeah. Right, but he's the tweener.
Yeah.
He's going to go somewhere between 20 and 52.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's worth 20. He's a guy if they take him in the first round, they trade back.
Right, which they've done once, I think, under Colbert. You know.
Yeah.
For a guy who was pretty good, what was his name? Hampton something.
Hampton. He was a snack of a sort. He was a snack.
He was pretty good though.
Decent. He was a decent player.
he was
medium-sized snack.
Medium-sized snack.
And one of the first people that ever told me bet that.
Bet that.
I didn't know what he meant.
In response to what?
What's the context?
It was Super Bowl week. We were in the TCU arena, and I was telling them where they needed to go, and like I was like, Troy, today you're at booth 4 or whatever. He was like, thank you. And then like Hamp was either before or after, and I was like, Hamp, you're at booth 8. And he's like, bet that. And I was like, all right, cool. I didn't know what that meant. I was like, all right.
Cool.
I think he knows what I mean. Which doesn't segue at all. But I say this, and I mean this in with all my heart because I've had some beers. How confident are they that they know Terrell Edmonds is going to come back? Because but here's the thing though. At this point, and we talked about this, whether they should have just picked up his 5th round option,
sure,
or whatever.
Ian's right.
If they know, and hindsight's 20/20, but Ian's right. So at this point, if they think they could get him for cheaper than his 5th-year option, which I don't think he'd want to do, and he's probably just going to wait until after the draft or see what happens. So at that point, I would go Dax Hill at 20, just to cover your ass, because if he's not coming back, I don't think Kyle Hamilton's going to be there. I think, and
I'd be stunned.
I think
I'll be frank, and I don't know that he would be right out of the gate, but I think that Dax Hill would be an upgrade to Terrell Edmonds.
Yes,
it's not that he's more athletic. It's that he's a better player, and he's probably got better instincts.
Dax Hill is more highly touted right now than Terrell Edmonds was when he.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Time.
But I mean, in terms of athleticism, Edmonds came out, and it was just like, okay, this guy's an amazing athlete. We know that. You know, how is he going to do when he learns to play football? Because basically what he was doing in college was he would just show up on Saturdays and he would just ball out.
Yeah.
He didn't really have to work at his craft. And there are a lot of guys in college like that, and high school too, that are just amazing athletes, and they fuck off all week in practice, and they're like, whatever. I'll do what I want. And then they show up on game day, and they ball out because they're that good, and they know it.
Yeah, absolutely true.
So I got a couple names, and I'll just but Nick Cross from Maryland, I feel bad for him already because he's from Maryland, and the Steelers' last 2 draft picks from Maryland have not panned out, and there's a Tomlin Maryland connection, but he's actually a pretty good football player. I don't know if they'd maybe look at him in the second round. I don't even know if he'd last that long, but and then you got Smoke Monday from Auburn because that's a cool name. Cool name. He is a backup. He's a special teamer. Quentin Lake is Ian said, and then I got a guy for Baylor, JT Woods. He has good hands. He had a lot of career picks. He's fast. Those are later round guys, but if they think Edmonds is going to come back and they get him for cheaper than the 5th-year, option, maybe they don't look so much at 20. But we'll see. We don't know.
Woods is 6'2" and ran a 4.36 40. Holy shit.
Yeah. JT Woods. Remember the name. I got my note. Listen,
and he's
I got
only
receipts.
21 years old, man.
Okay. Look at his receipts.
No, he does. He checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, he does. He's a great athlete, but he's got a shitty grade. Speaking of guys,
he played in a Big 12 defense. I think there's some bias there that just Yeah.
Well, you spend most of your time covering and chasing. I mean, that's in those defenses in the Big 12.
What's the bias we're talking about, Ian?
Big 12 defenses suck.
Yeah,
they're not good.
They're shit. I mean, they're pound for pound. The Big 12 defenses are worse than the Pac-12, which for years.
Wow, really?
All right, Washington's defense is pretty good.
Yeah, that's it.
Stanford has traditionally been decently
used to have
good.
Good defense.
USC's got some ballers. All right, Arizona State.
I'm not asking you to defend the Pac-12. Their defenses are fucking awful.
Yeah,
I went to Arizona.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that, the Big 12 and the Pac-12 are like the Spider-Man pointing meme.
I don't know, man. Wow. I don't think the Big 12's that bad, but all right.
Yes, they are.
Are they?
They are. All right.
Oklahoma's defense is usually decent, aren't they?
Oklahoma State's usually okay.
Yeah, theirs was real good this year. But
let's just say you don't ever take the under in a Big 12 game, regardless of what the fucking total.
Now you're talking.
They play a spread. They scheme everybody open.
Yeah.
They throw for a shit ton of yards.
Shit. This over under 72.5. Over.
73.
I do want to ask one question before we head out today, but we didn't cover specialists. Is there any number one? Boswell's fine.
Mark was talking about the long snappers.
There you go. Long snappers. We drafted one in the 6th round a few years back. Yeah. Why not again?
Colin Holba?
I was thinking more about punters.
Oh,
why? They're not going to draft a punter again.
Well,
no, man. Colin Holba was the specialist that got drafted.
He was.
And then he didn't make the team. Yeah.
And where is he now? Jacksonville?
I think so. Yeah.
Shit, is he still in the league?
He's still in the league?
Yeah. I think he was.
He got picked up by Jacksonville.
A prayer for the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, are we gonna chalk up PH3's rough year on the fact that he had some horrible personal?
He had a really bad personal year.
I think the Steelers are probably chalking it up to that.
I would think. I'm not saying I think we'll draft a specialist. I don't even know that we'll sign other than a guy just to be a camp leg. But there's some decent specialists out there. You never know.
Yeah, here's the thing. Actually, so I did some research on this last year. So kickers, you can find kickers as undrafted free agents. You don't draft a kicker. But punters actually that have been drafted have traditionally done better, like Pro Bowl wise, than undrafted punters. So you are actually okay spending a late round pick on a punter. I agree. Harvin's year was, it was an awful year for the kid. Personal life wise. I hope he can bounce back from it. I think they'll give him a shot, but also like specialists are the kind of things where you can find guys on the street that have been like on the fringes of the league to come in for a week or two and be fine. I mean, we made a Super Bowl with Mitch Lob Wedge Burger, as my dad and I called him. Like
Lob Wedge.
Wasn't Gardaki there one year too?
Gardaki?
Yeah, because Sepulveda got hurt both years. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Ron Stark back in Super Bowl 30.
Yeah.
Sepulveda.
Jeremy Capinos,
the greatest thing about having Sepulveda back there was he was
Don't you ever talk about Jeremy Capinos. I'm sorry.
I love him. Capinos
he was. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Sepulveda back there as a safety was awesome because if the returner got away and Sepulveda had to tackle him, you knew the hit was going to be cringeworthy. You're going to be, here it comes. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. I cannot believe he hit him that hard. The guy's a punter.
He was a big man.
God.
He was.
Yeah.
No, it was like he would leave the guy on the field. They'd bring out a stretcher. It was insane. That was the thing I loved about him. And it really sucked when he didn't end up working out.
I know.
Well, it wasn't that he didn't work out. He just got hurt too much.
Yeah, two blown ACLs.
Yeah, 2 blown ACLs. And it just didn't happen. It was over.
Scarps.
My overall point, we're not drafting a specialist this year, but you are better off drafting punters than kickers.
Yeah. Scarps, any interesting draft day or draft weekend stories from your time there in the Bird?
Were you sober?
Yeah. The main thing was, I gained at least 5 pounds every draft weekend. The food was endless. There was candy. There was just all kinds of junk food.
Yeah.
We had wings. We had pizza, hoagies.
Sounds awful.
What a terrible experience.
It was glorious. It was glorious. The thing was, you always had to be on your toes because you never knew if you were going to trade up. And obviously with social media, you got assholes saying random things. I remember. I'm sorry. Like we would literally be like, hey, so and so said we're traded up, and we'd yell it, and Bert, the boss, would walk down the hall, be like, no, we're good. That's a lie or whatever. But there were you could never necessarily walk in the draft room, although Kevin Colbert would literally call my phone and be like, it's too tight in here, man. Come down and do an impression of somebody. and I'm not even shitting you. Like, to do a Tomlin in front of Tomlin, or to do a Todd Haley in front of Haley, or a Danny Smith in front of Danny Smith, like, you want to talk about Chris Rock at the Oscars a couple weeks ago. I'd be like, dude, are you serious? He's like, get down here. And Art would be in there, and I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I'm like, what's up, Kevin? He'd be like, give me Danny Smith. I'd be like, I need to get some gum. Give me give me Todd Haley. What's up there, Ryan? How you doing there, man? What's up, man? It's not even that great, but it make people laugh, shit like that. So those are the fun draft moments. But the food was always great. You were always on edge because you never knew if you were trading up. But Kevin is just such a good dude and down to earth dude. He would always know how to level the play. He would know how to bring the energy back to where we needed to be. But also too, I used to drive.
I was going to say, you had to pick up the draft picks.
So a lot of the time, not a lot of time, but so I drove guys to and from variety of locations in my first couple years there. And then I also drove him back to the hotel. So my first year, I drove Marquise Pouncey back to the hotel, and then he went on his way. After he got drafted, I drove Cam Hayward my second year. And then my third year, I also drove the Castro as well. So like, it was just a good time to just
Did
be
he
like,
say
hey,
2 words to you? Because he
no, so
always seemed like a guy that
no.
was
So
just
Pouncey was
silent.
like, hey, what's up, brother? Hey, what's up, brother? Like Pouncey was wild. He's cool. Cam was awesome. Obviously, he had the Pittsburgh connection, but the Castro didn't say 2 words. And like, it's funny because when De Castro signed his rookie deal, that was like the last final year where they kind of like held out because the CBA had changed.
Yeah.
So he actually didn't sign until training camp. And after that, every other first round pick signed before camp. So like, I remember like walking to Rooney Hall from Benedict, which is where the press conference was. And I'm like, hey, Dave, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good, man. Step. Yeah. So do you I have some talking? Yeah, I'm good, man. Okay. No talking points. Sounds good, Dave. Step. So what's going on? Step. I'm sorry. Are you gonna fucking say anything? Like it was just no. And like literally like the later that year, he opened up more and was like, yeah, he's like, I just didn't know you. And like, I just didn't feel comfortable. Like, all right, okay, I get it.
Stanford education.
No, and yeah, like he was too smart for me, And then after that, he ended up winning a Chief Award. He ended up winning a Chief Award. I think it was the year after I left. I texted him. I was like, "You fucker." I was like, "Don't forget to give me a shout out because you never talked." But hey, speaking of St. Vincent, in my obvious, my obvious impact on St. Vincent. I'm just kidding. But they're back at St. Vincent this year, which is great for St. Vincent. It's great for the Latrobe community. I've drank about 30,000 beers at Sharky's and other variety of locations. So it is just good for everybody involved.
We'll get lucky and there'll be a story about a player driving the wrong way up a lawn again this year.
Has that happened?
Allegedly.
Yeah, it's funny. I tweeted
my nose.
that exact same thing that, it's great for the community. And Sharky's was one of the first ones to like my tweet and retweet it. And, so they're definitely geared up for people to come back there. And I'm excited for it.
I've not drank as many beers as Ryan has at Sharky's, but I have also been to Sharky's and I can confirm it is a good place to hang out.
Hey, they say Jeff Reed buys beers there from what I heard during camp.
Oh, yeah?
That's what I heard.
Oh, cool.
Louis Lips is there a lot too.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
everybody's there. It's awesome.
Right.
Mark Madden's there. You guys could hang out.
Listen.
And no.
Yeah. I met Mikey and Bob from the Kiss FM morning show there. It was great.
Oh, yeah?
Listen, support Sharky's, local business.
Right on.
Say this.
Absolutely.
Everybody goes to Sharky's. So it's like one of those things like when you're around people all day and it's 90 degrees out and you're disgusting, gross, you don't want to see the same people you see all day. So you venture out to other areas, okay? I'm going to shout out to the Tin Lizzie. I don't even know if it's still open. I don't know if everything survived the pandemic, but the Tin Lizzie was a spot to go. Geo's, which did not survive the pandemic. Geo's was another good spot. And then a variety of other places that young Ryan ventured to when he was single. Hey, listen, all right? Listen.
It happens.
No it does. It's beautiful.
Nobody's judging you.
Nah,
is that a Yangling?
Not talking about you.
I think that's
about the viewers. It is a Yangling.
That is a Yangling.
That's a Yangling.
It is a Yangling.
Love it. Hey, that's going to be just about it for us tonight. We've successfully navigated our way through the draft previews. Anyway, next week we'll hit you up with maybe our final thoughts on this, and then of course come to you with the draft as it unfolds, and you'll get our reactions on what the Steelers do, hopefully, for filming at that time. But anyway, make sure you check out the site at steelcityblitz.com and check out the Twitter handle at SCB or SC Blitz rather, and the podcast at SCB_podcast and all that other good stuff, kids. And for these guys, this is Steel Dad signing off. And hey, go Steelers!
And hey, Ravens suck.